If you listen to episodes 168 and 169 of the Garden Basics with Farmer Fred podcast, you know we were talking a lot about the All-America Selections winners. We covered a lot of great award-winning plants that you ought to try in your yard this year. You might want to give those podcasts a listen. But one area of growing interest to a lot of gardeners is container gardening. With Diane Blazak, we started talking about small hot pepper varieties, and that quickly evolved into a discussion of container plant gardening.
Speaking of hot peppers, have you heard about the hot pepper with no hot?
Yeah, I think we talked about it on the podcast on episode 168. It was not the jalapeno. I grew that last year. I was very pleased with that. But tell us about one you're thinking of.
Yeah, it's called roulette,
right.
Take a chance. Pepper roulette, it's a habanero pepper, but it has no heat. So for all of us who would not be able to handle the heat, we actually now know what a habanero tastes like because we can use roulette and eat it, get all the flavor, and not have all that spice.
And it's a very prolific plant, too. The roulette produces, according to one of your judges, 10 to 11 fruits at one time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And it looks like a habanero, which for those who are have sensitive taste buds would be off-putting right away. But you have to trust the label on this one and taste it.
Yes, exactly. But then on the other end of the spectrum is one of our new peppers called Quickfire. Guess what? Yeah, it is really hot. It's a Thai type of pepper. So it has that plant with the upright kind of small peppers on it. But here's what's really cool about that is we talked about the patio. We are now trialing in containers, and Quickfire is one of the first ones that we trialed in a container and knew that it grew great and still had fantastic yield, even though it was grown in a container. So that one is definitely hot. Like the patapino is more of a medium, and then roulette has no heat.
You bring up a very good point. There's more and more interest in container gardening for many reasons, not the least of which, as people's landscapes mature, trees and shrubs get larger, there's more shade in the garden, peppers love full sun, and so it might be easier to be growing plants like peppers in large pots in those few areas left in your yard where you have full sun, or if you have a small yard to begin with and all you have is a sunny patio, containers are a great way to grow the food that you can eat. And let's talk a little bit about those container trials that you conduct. What is the minimum size container that you would trial these in?
Well, when we started trialing flowers, we requested that everybody trial in like a 14 or an 18-inch container. But then when we started trialing the edibles, it really depends on what they are growing. If they're saying, hey, we have this 8-inch pepper, it's like, okay, fine, you can grow that in a 10 or 12-inch pot. But if they're saying, hey, you need a really big container for this indeterminate tomato, we just want you to trial it here just to prove that it will do fantastic. So we have kind of a long, involved sheet for the judges to say, okay, if you're growing this, here's the minimum size. If you're growing this, here's the minimum size. And the breeders, do all these check boxes on the entry form. So it's not a cut and dried. But of course, what the breeders are trying to do is go smaller and smaller containers because they want to match what the average home gardener has.
Exactly. So I would imagine then with that seed packet would be directions on the best size container for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. All the seed packet companies are going to provide that information. Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of beautiful edible plants in containers, the patapeno that you mentioned sounds like it would be a winner for a pot in a raised location where you could grow it and let it cascade over the sides.
Exactly. Yeah, I did grow that last year, and I'm pretty sure I put mine in, it was either 10 inches or 12 inches, and I was just blown away. I mean, it had peppers after peppers after peppers. So I was usually picking maybe 15 to 18 at a time to make some poppers, and I think I got 3 good harvests off of them.
How hot is the patapeno?
It's not bad. It's not. I mean, it's very much like a typical jalapeno. Yeah, so it's not burn your tongue hot. It's just got some nice spice. So I put a cream cheese and sausage mixture. I do not use the hot and spicy sausage, put it that way. I put a mild sausage inside the patapino for a nice kind of even keel, just a little bit of spice.
If people want more information about All America Selections winners, where should they go?
Our website. We have two different URLs that both direct you to the website, so hopefully one of these is easy to remember. One is all-americaselections.org, so ALL-americaselections.org, and the other one is aaswinners.com.
All right, there's two, and we'll have a link in the show notes, too, about where you can go and find their complete list of winners that go back to the 1930s that you might be willing to try in your yard for annuals, perennials, edibles. It's a great selection. The All-America Selections winners. It's the only national nonprofit plant trialing organization in North America. Diane Blazek is the executive director of the National Garden Bureau's AAS program. Diane, we learned a lot today. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you for having me. And anytime, I love to talk plants.